Right, let's just talk a little bit more then about last night, because the news broke earlier in the week about James Maddison that he would be out now for the rest of the season and potentially even a little bit into next season. It's a very big miss as we kind of look ahead to that final, isn't it? Because we can have Kulusevski in that 10, but Maddison, he's a very big role, plays a big role in the dressing room as well. The creative output for us, he's the one. And we're going to be missing him alongside someone like Lucas Bergvall as well. How big of a miss is that? Yeah,
those two players you mentioned are a huge miss, in my opinion. Going into the Manchester United game, their strongest position's probably centre midfield. So you're losing arguably your player of the season in Bergvall, for me. And James Maddison, arguably one of your biggest leaders in the team. He gets his criticism. I don't know why. I think a lot of it's unjustified. He is a moments player, but those moments normally leads to goals or assists, which I'm happy with that. You could do. There's a quick game. Thierry Henry. I can't remember the actual game, but the statisticians, whatever you call them, said he run the least, gave the ball away the most. They won 3-0, scored a hat-trick. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter if you're a moments player, as long as those moments lead to goals and assists. And I think he's going to be a big miss, but it's for players to step up. I know we're going to pick a player of the time. I know you've got one that stepped up, and I think that's what you need. You need players, the ones that are missing, unlucky, sorry, this isn't your moment, but I'm there. If I was one of those fringe players, I'd be like, take your moment. This is my opportunity.
Take your moment. What about then someone like Son? Because he's obviously been out injured. I'll be honest with you, and this is not because I don't like Son, before you all get on my back. I love Sonny. I would love nothing more than to see him lift the cup, OK?
That's the qualifier that you have to say with some of these players.
You have to just say it. You're not allowed to be happy. If you're Ange in, Ange out, you're not allowed to, hate on Son or give him criticism. I love Sonny. I want nothing more than to see him be successful, and he deserves it so much. But he has been out for quite a while. The performances, the level of him over the course of the season has obviously not been particularly good. And even when I look at the team sheet, my eyes don't go like, oh, where's Son? It always actually goes, where's Bergvall? Which is amazing considering that's his first season in the Prem. But on Sonny, do we replicate what happened in 2019? That if Son is fit, which it's expected to be, that he walks straight back into the team?
I think it's a difficult one. I think we're going to need to see Sonny play, in my opinion, ahead of the Man United game to see where he's at, to then make that decision. I just think you can just throw him back in, because to be fair, you look at our forward options, Brennan Johnson's the club's top scorer overall. Which I know, again, is going to cause a lot of stirring by me saying that.
We just call him back post
Because all Brennan does is score goals. That's all Brennan
does.
Back post Brennan.
Back post Brennan.
Goals.
Pop up at the back post and we don't need to see you again.
I mean, to be fair, Richie, I think, has been, whatever you think about Richarlison's injury, again, injury problems, again, is a separate thing. He works very, very hard for the team. I think he actually works really well alongside Solanke. So, again, you've got that situation there. Solanke, to be fair, as we've touched upon already, he stepped up really throughout this Europa League tournament. Matty's Tell, they've got this situation around his loan, what they're going to do about that. I'm not sure at the moment, given what I saw of Son before his injury, he walked straight back into the team. But I do have a feeling that if Heung-min Son is considered match fit, he will start. That's my feeling.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that not agree that he should, but I agree that he will if he's match fit. For me, he doesn't. For me, he's on the bench. For me, I play Mattis Tell.
Yeah.
I think in the first leg of Bodo Glimt, I felt it was looking at a young, fresh Son. With the way he was playing, the style of play he was getting, he was attacking the full-back. And Son, from what I've seen in previous games, he don't attack the full-back anymore. He turns...
He can get a bit lost.
Yeah, he gets a bit, turns, goes back to the full-back. And I think you need someone to take it to Manchester United, and I think a young, fresh Mattis Tell would do that. And look at, if he is on the bench, look at the option you're going to have to come on when the defenders are tired.
Son to come on for the last 20 minutes,
get the winner.
25 minutes,
and
get the winner.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want.
It'd be amazing.
With the right attitude, a bit of a chip on his shoulder, saying I should be starting, not coming on sulking.
Well, but he's the captain, right?
Yeah.
So if you're the captain, you've got to make the best shout. And I know what some people will say in the comments. Harry Kane shouldn't have started, but he should have said that he wasn't going to start.
Yeah.
Look, I do think it is a very different argument now. Harry Kane in his prime.
Yeah.
For me, you start Harry Kane. That's not to say that Lucas Moura should have been dropped.
Yeah.
There were other players in that team at the time that maybe should have come out to allow both to start. But you play your best player, who is the best goal scorer, the best striker in the world, your talisman, you play that. Son isn't that anymore for Spurs.
No.
That's not to say he shouldn't, of course, come on or feature, but what's the best thing for the team? Is it starting Son? Is it starting Odegaard? Is it starting Tell? Is it starting Richarlison?
Yeah.
And part of me, even though I know what you're saying, I think he will. I definitely think he will.
Yeah.
But I would actually like Ange to have as much vim that he has when it comes to everything else, and say, no, I'm picking the best team for Tottenham to go and win this.
What I'll say, sorry, Rick, is this decision will be all on Ange and the coaching staff. There's no way in a million years Son would go and sit in the room with him and say, I don't think I'm right for this, unless he's 50% match fit.
I totally agree.
I'm telling you, even for me, if I was 90% match fit, there's Europa League final, I'm saying I want to play. And if you're the captain of the club, one, you want to play, of course you do. You want to be part of this historic moment, potentially. And two, if you're picked in a team, and then afterwards you go in and you say, oh, I'm not sure I should, Andrew's going to sit there and go, hold on, are you bottling this? I'm picking you. I'm putting my faith in you. This is solely down to Ange's decision.
I think what's on the line for Ange as well is, and we mustn't also overlook this, I think he's the first ever Australian manager to reach a European UEFA final. So for him, I think, given what's on the line for him personally, I think I would think, wouldn't be swayed by Sonny, whether he's fit or match fit. I think he would want to pick it based solely on what is best for the team. Yeah. Maybe what I'm alluding to here is that maybe that powers that be above him might be a potential issue for him.
Potentially so. Potentially so. We'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. Right. Let's talk about then the player then across the two ties, because there's been really great performances from some of those players that have come in. Someone like Abbi Summers, who actually is my pick, because I've given him a lot of criticism over the last couple of seasons, and I wanted to give him credit where it's due. I thought he was brilliant across both legs. I thought was really professional. I also loved his post-match interview as well. You could tell it was from the heart. No media training needed there. Just speak freely. So I wanted to give him his flowers for last night and how impressed I was with him over both games. Who's yours, Darren?
Pedro Porro. I think Mr. Consistent, I call him at the moment. I think he's got so much energy in that right back. I think there's a moment last night, it was popped up on the left wing and making challenges, and then he was back at right back. And if it's me, I'm claiming that's a shot at goal. I'm claiming I see the goalie off the line.
He's too modest.
Yeah, he's too modest. But look, fair play. It just shows you. And even during that speech with Ange, and he come in, and he's shouted Vamos. You can see he's a big leader in the dressing room. You can see he's loved as well. And you can see he loves playing for Spurs. I just think him going up and down the wing gives us a real outlet. And as you said, when Brennan Johnson drifts in, tries to get to that back post, with him getting beyond him, I thought he was really good in the first leg, but I thought he was excellent yesterday.
It's a good shout, really good shout. Who's yours, Rick?
I've got to say Dominic Solanke. I think, there's been so much levelled at Solanke through parts, not all of the Spurs fan base, with regards to maybe his ratio of games to goals. But when you look at what he's done in the latter stage of this European competition, how he's played such a pivotal role against Frankfurt, leading, of course, into Bordeaux, and how his goals have helped Tottenham get to a European final, that is what you pay the big money for. He was a £65 million signing. Again, there's a lot of questions as to who could come in and fill the Harry Kane boots. I think we all know, look, very hard for any striker to come in and be Harry Kane. It just isn't going to happen. But I have to say, I think what's let Dom down is that the service to him.
Yes.
He's been feeling off scraps for a lot of the season. You look at that guy's having to work with. I'm just so pleased for him that he's had such a pivotal say at such a pivotal part of Spurs' season, where his goals have got Tottenham to a European final. And he will, I think, be one of the key players in that Man United game. If we are to win it, that we're going to need to be 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Look, we could have actually picked anyone across the two legs.
I think honourable mention Romero.
Yeah,
Romero.
I was going to say
he was outstanding.
Both Romero and Mickey van der Ven. I thought they were both exceptional. I thought Doggy was really good. And actually, I just wanted to say on Richarlison, because he does get a lot of criticism, super injury prone, like we said. But I never ever doubt his work rate. I never ever doubt his love for the club. Commitment to Tottenham. Yeah. Never doubt him. Yeah. And I thought he did really well. Because at first, when I saw the team sheet, I was like, oh, are we going to go with Tell and Odebert? That might have been something that I leaned a bit more towards. It was more attack-based. But I like seeing them together. It's not something I might want to see every week in the Prem, but needs must. And they did a good job.